Hello and welcome to my channel. The theme I picked for today's video, as you can probably tell for its title, and unless I changed it already, is nostalgia for things that don't even exist. Why did I pick this title? What am I even going to talk to you about? Well, some weeks ago, I was on this Caribbean cruise ship and I had a bunch of time on my hands, and I decided to take on a book that I've been wanting to read for some time, but that was kind of scaring me because it's a bit intimidating in a way. And this book is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Why is it intimidating? Because it has a bunch of references to David Copperfield, and I read David Copperfield several years ago. I liked it a lot, but it was also a bit exhausting as a reading experience in the sense that it's long and there's a lot of things that happens in world that's so far away from yours that sometimes it takes a bit of time for you to feel fully engaged. And so I was like, do I really want to take on something that has that much kind of probably will have some references to that other piece of work. And then yeah, I decided to give it a go, and thank God I did. I mean, I've loved this book so much. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. And the main reason why I liked it, it's because of the reason that the title that I gave to this video, which is that this book gave me a lot of nostalgia for things that aren't real, not necessarily that are not real, but things that I don't don't own or don't know personally. And let me try to give some context before I try to explain myself a bit better. So this book is a story of development of this guy that's known as Demon Copperhead. It's a bit of a nickname, but it's not that far off from his real name. And essentially, it's the story of how he grows and a bunch of misadventures that he faces throughout his youth. And it's a coming of age story that, in a way, really has a bunch of similarities with the David Copperfield story, but it's rooted into probably the last 20 years or so of this century, and so you can relate a lot more because it's something fresh and not as far away back in time, which is something that again I've been mildly struggling with when I was reading David Copperfield. And I don't want to enter too much into the plot because the plot is not the most interesting part of this story. It's fascinating, but it's not the most fascinating part of it. Um, but in short, you should imagine someone where when things can go wrong, 9 times out of 10 they do go wrong. And so this person, the character, has to figure it out. There's a bunch of people that um, are with him throughout the journey. Some are good, some are bad, but 95% of them are gray. They have good qualities, they have bad qualities, and you cannot simply tell that those are people to root for or to root against, which I loved. I really, really liked. And this is true for his mother. This is even true for what we know about his father. This is true for most of his best friends and even some of the parenting figures that he has with him as he progresses in life. And the same is true for Demon himself. He's definitely a great character. He has a lot of kindness. He has a lot of good feelings, but it's also not someone that makes always the right choice or does the right thing at all points of in time. And again, this is something that I truly liked, and that makes all characters more real and worthy of excavating. I don't think that's the way you would say it in English, but that sounds good to me, and so that's what I'm going to go with. Now, I think I'm going off topic. Why did I call this video Nostalgia for Things That Aren't Even Real? Because that's the feeling that this book left me with. And the only way that I can try to convey the same to you is by picking three very short parts of the book, telling you what those parts of the book are about, and then you will try to see for yourself whether you have the same impression or not. And if you've read the book or if you're going to read the book, I would love to know also what are your thoughts about it. So please let me know in the comment section down below. So the first part that I'm going to pick is at the very beginning of the book, and I have the Italian copy, so I'm not going to be able to read it to you in English directly, but essentially, and by the way, if you want zero spoilers, stop here. There's no way that I can tell you what I have in mind without giving minor spoilers on what the book is going to cover. So we are roughly 100 pages in the book out of, I don't know, 600 plus, and fairly early on he thinks he's going to have a little brother. I think at this stage is probably around 12 or so, and essentially he's thinking that what he would like to say to his little brother when he comes out of his mother's belly, and essentially he has a lot of ideas and a lot of things, and then the more he thinks about it, the more he comes to the conclusion that there's only one thing that Demon, could tell to his little brother about infancy. And that thing is that for any child that has a way to choose, he should hold on to infancy as long as possible, to keep it, to hide it, to love it desperately, because at some point it will leave you and it will not come back. And why did it give me this sense of nostalgia for things that don't exist? Because if you've read already the first 100 pages of the book or so, you already know that this is not a feeling that Demon should really have, no? He should not really have this sense of what a good youth looks like, because most of his youth has been shit. His mother suffers from a bunch of dependency related issues, and his father dies before he's even born. And so, and there's a bunch of, people that are present at this stage and are involved with his mother and him that are not really, good, that don't even have that great quality, but are definitely on the blacker side of things. And so the fact that he's still able to look at the purest, the most positive aspects of what infancy should be, I really found that brilliant, and it gave me this sense of nostalgia. The next part of the book that I'm going to pick is not that later on, is maybe 50 pages later, and he's basically in the presence of this other girl that is about his age, a bit older, I think, and you can clearly tell that they like each other and they have a lot of commonalities, and so they start talking a lot and they develop this bond and this relationship that is going to be prevalent throughout Demon's growth as a character. And at this stage, I think they're both around 12 or so, and they are basically laying, and she's looking him in the eyes and they were sad together for a while. And I will never forget that sensation. It was like not being hungry. And again, why is this relevant? Because if you've read the book, you know that Demon is hungry all the time. He's poor, he's really not fed all that well, and he's growing rapidly. He's going to be quite tall and, muscular and so on. And he's always hungry and he's never enough. He rarely ever has a decent meal. And moreover, more interestingly, he's saying that being with this girl is like, again, not being hungry, and they've not kissed, they've not had the real kind of loving experience. He's new to all of this, and so again, it's giving you that vibe of he's trying to navigate experiences and emotions that he wants to face. He has a glimpse of what they look like, but they're not there yet. And he's still thinking about them and trying to shape them and chase them and feel them. And I really, really liked it. And let me see if I can find the third and final one that I wanted to read to you. Yes, this is probably a bit around midway through the book. He's he's waiting to be picked to move to a new foster home, and he's already visited a few, but this one seems to be, he has better hopes for this new one. Because it's going to be with coach of the local football team that has kind of a good opinion, and it's known within the community, and so he thinks it could be a good one. But he's also scared because he has had a bunch of bad experiences in foster homes, and so he's waiting to be picked up and to visit this new family. And he's saying something like, I wanted to go home, which didn't exist, but it's a feeling that you keep having, even when you don't have a house a home to go back to. And I think this, out of the three snippets of text that I decided to read to you, is the one that's closest to the title I picked for this video. You feel the sensation of wanting to come back home, even when you don't necessarily have a home to go back to. And I could really relate to that. Not in the sense that I've had kind of the same strike of bad luck as Demon had, quite the opposite, but because there are times where you feel like you would want something that even if you had would not be good, but just the idea of it is good in theory. And so it's kind of a sensation that you want to chase. And you can feel that with home, you can feel that with religion, you can feel that with hope, you can feel that with love. There's a bunch of ways in which you can have this same feeling of, I would really want to go back to this place, even if that's, you want to go back to the idea of that place and not really that place. And so yeah, I found this really interesting. The book is about a lot more. There's a lot more things that if you've read the book, you could be pissed that I'm not covering. For example, everything that relates the usage of drugs and everything that relates to the plot and the way that he's, kind of wandering around this messy part of southern USA. And I'm sure that there's a dozen of interesting themes that, each one would make for a very good video if you really wanted to. But this is the piece that struck out the most with me, and so this is the one that I wanted to talk about. I hope that you found it interesting, and I would be really curious to hear your thoughts and what struck out the most to you, if you've read the book already. And if not, I truly hope that you pick it up, because it's worth the read. That's about it. So see you for the next one. Bye bye.